Begin at the Mishnah and Av Chaf Amid Beis, the second Mishnah towards the bottom of the Yomit. Sagt the Heilige Mishnah, Chanus Shebachatzer. A person that's living in a courtyard, as it was in those times, that you had a few homes that are open to the same courtyard, and one of the people living there wants to open a store, and it's going to be busy, people coming and going. Another person living there in that courtyard can protest against this and prevent him of opening the store here in this courtyard. Now, simply the reason is because of the noise that there is, or others say the reason is because of the traffic, that it's inconvenient with so many people walking in and out. And you can tell him, I can't sleep because of the noise of people coming and going. So the simple words of the Mishnah is the noise. What other Rishonim say, it doesn't mean really the noise, it means the traffic. Aval oise kalim, a person that's for his work, he makes kalim, makes vessels, whatever it may be, pottery or whatever else. The person makes this pottery, so he can do the work and prepare in this courtyard, and then he goes and he sells it in the marketplace. And another person living in the same courtyard cannot protest and say to him, I can't sleep, because of the hammer that you use to make your vessels, and he can't tell him also that I can't sleep because of the sound of the mill that you have, that you are grinding, and then you sell things in the marketplace, and he can't tell him I can't handle the sound of the children. Now simply, when it says here the sound of the children, Rashi says it would sound like that this means that if he has a store or he has something that he's selling and you have children that are coming and going to buy things, he also can't prevent him of having his children coming and buying, let's say, wine or oil. That's what Rashi says. Okay, Zok the Gemara, Maishna Reisha, Maishna Seifa. When you learn the simple pshat of the Mishnah, and in the Reisha it says that you can't have a store inside this courtyard. You can have your vessels where you prepare things, and even if it makes noise, it doesn't matter as long as you're selling it outside. But you can't have a store where all the traffic is going to come into the courtyard. But then in the Sefer, though, it said that Koila Tinaikis is not an issue. Now the Gemara understood Koila Tinaikis means children that are coming to buy things in the courtyard, which means that you have a store here. So what's the difference? Why in the Sefer does it say that it's fine? Abaye answers, Sefer also in the Sefer, when it says that you can't have any issues with this person that has children coming and going, that's when it's in a chutzner right next over. It's in the same mavi maybe, but it's not in the same chutzner. When he's selling things in the next chutzner over. So what it's saying is that if you live in this courtyard and there's a chutzner right over, which is very close to you, and you can hear the noise and it's bothering you, but if it's the next chutzner over, you don't have the rights to come and complain about what he's doing in that chutzner. Only in your courtyard, here you have a right to stop him. Amalei Rave sort of asks on this, how could you say that's what the Mishnah means? Why is the Mishnah saying that the Koila Tinaikis is not a problem? That's not the point. It should have said that if it's a different courtyard, then it's not an issue. Mutter, then it would be allowed. So therefore Rave says, the pshat when it says in the Sefer of the Mishnah that you can't prevent the children from coming and going, it's speaking about something totally different. Sefer asan l'tinoikas shel beis rabban. The Sefer is speaking about the children that are coming to and going from their teacher's home. A person that has a class of children that he's teaching them Torah, and there's a lot of children that come and go, that's something that it says that you can't prevent a person from bringing in children here. So yeah, if you're opening a store or if there's anything else that there's people coming and going, that's the noise that you could prevent them from. Or as I mentioned, other Rishonim say the traffic of people coming and going, you could prevent. But children that are coming to learn Torah, that you can't stop a person of opening up a class to teach children even in the courtyard where it causes all this noise. And the Gemara explains, Umitakanas, Yeshua ben Gamla ve'elech. This was something that was instituted from the time period of Yeshua ben Gamla. Rashi says he was a Kohen, one of the Kohenim Gedolim actually, in the time of the second Beis HaMikdash. That this person, Yeshua ben Gamla, is remembered for the good that he did. And Yeshua ben Gamla Shmai, his name is Yeshua ben Gamla. What did he do? Shel Malehu. If not for what he did and what he instituted, Nishtakach Teire mi Yisrael. Teire would have been forgotten from Yidden. Because Shebetchila, in the beginning, what happened is, Misha Yesh Layav, someone that has a father, Melamde Teira. His father that's able would teach him Teira. Misha Ein Layav, someone that doesn't have a father or doesn't have a father that's able to teach him, Lehayalam Teira. A child didn't have any place to go to learn Teira. My Dorish, what would they say? What would they darshan? It says in the pasuk, V'limadatem oisam, which means V'limadatem atem, that you if you have a child, you have to teach your child Torah. So only you have to teach your child. But to be worried about another child that doesn't have a father to teach him Torah, that's not anybody's obligation. So therefore, there were many children that went without learning Torah. Hiskino. So then they instituted that that they should have teachers of children in Yerushalayim that should teach children Torah. And anybody that doesn't have a father that can teach them Torah, the children should be brought to Yerushalayim, and there they're going to learn Torah. My Dorish, what are they darshan that they instituted that the children should be brought dafka to Yerushalayim? Because the pasuk says Kimitzia in Teitzei Torah, and then the pasuk continues and says Dvar Shem Yerushalayim. You teach Torah dafka to the children in Yerushalayim. Taisus here says that this is similar to what it says B'negei to Ma'aser Sheni. That one of the reasons why the Eibusher says you bring your Maasers and eat it specifically in Yerushalayim is because in Yerushalayim, where you see the Beis Hamikdash and the great Kedusha that was there and the Aveda of the Kohen Gadol, so this brings a tremendous level of Yiras Shamayim in the person that comes there. The same thing also, in order for the children to learn Torah properly with Yiras Shamayim, so they instituted that you should bring children to learn Torah in Yerushalayim. And this is a famous Piddush that's always brought in Chassidus regarding the name, Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is a combination of two words, Yira and Shalem, that it's the highest level of Yiras Hashem. But still, this didn't address the issue, because Vadayin, Mi sheyesh lo yav, someone that has a father that's able to bring him, Hoya Mailem Malamdei, he would bring him to Yerushalayim and he would be taught Torah there. But a Mishayin lo yav, someone that didn't have a father, Lo Hoya Oila, he wouldn't go up and the child would not learn Torah. Lo Hoya Oila v'lama, that is, he wouldn't go up to learn Torah. So then Iskinu, they further instituted that you should have someone that should teach children Torah in every area. And we're talking over here about in every broad area, not only in every city or in every village, but in every big area, there should be someone that's teaching children Torah. Now, and what age would they come to learn Torah? They would bring them to learn Torah at 16 or 17 years old. Because if they have to travel from their city to another place to go and learn Torah by this teacher, they have to be old enough that it's safe for them to travel to the teacher. They didn't have a teacher for children in every single city. So they had to wait until they were older. And now when you come to learn Torah at that age, if you didn't learn Torah before, and you come at such an old age to learn, so this is already a child that matured and is already difficult to come now and teach him, to educate him to learn Torah. So me, Shahaya Rabbi Kayis Olav, so this adult already at this point that came to learn Torah, and his teacher got angry with him, so Mavayid B'V'Yaitza, he would kick and he would rebel and leave from his teacher. Because he only came to learn at such an old age, so he's not going to be ready to accept and listen and to follow and to be educated. Yeshua ben Gamla, until finally Yeshua ben Gamla came, v'tiken, and he instituted Shiyim Meshivin Melamdei Tinaikis B'chol Medina u'Medina u'B'chol Ir v'Ir, and he instituted that you have to have teachers for children in every country and in every city. And you have to, in other words, they shouldn't have to travel from one place to another, but in every city you should have someone teaching them. And then so you bring the children at a young age, at 6 years old, at 7 years old, to come and learn. Right? If the child is strong enough at 6 years old, or if not at 7 years old. Taisus here actually says, even though in Pirkei Avos it says ben chomesh lemikra, that's a child that's able at that age of 5 years old. But here it's saying that even a child that's not able, at least at 6, at 7 years old, he should go to a teacher and learn Torah at a young age. So this is what Yeshua ben Gamla instituted at a very young age. You should have teachers teaching children Torah, and therefore they're able to learn Torah well. Rav said to Rav Shmuel Bashilas, which was a teacher of children we had before in the Gemara, he was mentioned that he was a teacher, and he said, until the age of 6 years old, don't take children to learn, because it's too young and they're not going to be able to learn. From here, from this age of 6 and older, Kabul, you should take the children to learn, and you should give them the Torah. You should give them to eat and drink Torah, like a person that gives an ox to eat and drink, and he stuffs him and he gives him and he puts. Or Rashi says it means you put a yoke on the ox that he should go on the right path. Over here as well, you should put a yoke on the children to discipline them to go on the right path. Or as I mentioned, others say you should stuff them and give them as much Torah as you can from that age going forward. Another thing Rav said to Rav Shmuel Bashilas, a teacher of children, when you have to discipline and you're hitting a child, you shouldn't. You should use a little shoelace to hit him. In other words, it should be light. It shouldn't be something that shouldn't hurt them. Chas v'shalom. The kari. Now the ones that are going to learn are learning. That's good. The loy kari. Even if it's a student that's not learning, you shouldn't send him away. Let him be together with his children, and as long as he's going to stay there together with the other children, eventually he's going to come to learn together with the others. That's what Rashi here says. Soifer lost his slave. In the end, he's going to come and learn. Others say that even if he's not going to end up learning, but the very fact that he's going to be there together around the others in the environment of learning, that itself will influence him positively. Okay, so we see here that this is because of what Yeshua ben Gamliel instituted. This is the explanation for what it says in our Mishnah, that in every courtyard, you want to have a person that's going to teach children Torah. You can't stop them from this, because this is the only way you keep Torah, by educating the little children. The Rebbe brought this sikha a few times, this story about Yeshua ben Gamliel. This was the whole story in the time of communism, when they mainly focused on stopping the little children of learning. They understood that that's where it all is. And that was the main Mesiras Nefesh of the Friedrich Rebbe, that they should have the chadarim, the underground chadarim for the little children. The whole meaning of chinuch that you see here, it's tafke by the little children. Toshema, but the Gemara says, let's see what it says here in the Braise. The Braise says about in a person's courtyard. Actually, I skipped. Let me go back up. Meisvei. So the Gemara asks on this. Echad b'bnei chotzer. A person living in a courtyard. Shebikesh lasses reife. That wants to be a reife. Okay, so how do you teach reife? Rashi says reife, it means a mile. He wants to be a mile, or maybe it means a doctor. Okay, we'll see that. So uman, or he wants to be a bloodletter. And Vagardi, a weaver, or Malamde Tinoikis, he wants to teach children. The people of the courtyard could stop him. So we see here that it concludes together with the other things, a doctor or so on, these things that bring traffic and cause noise in your courtyard. So the same thing also with someone that's teaching children. So that's the Gemara focuses here on the question benigeh to the children. Taisus over here asks that the Gemara could have asked also a question from the Gardi, the weaver. Why are we saying that a person can't be a weaver? In the Mishnah it said the person that makes kalim and then he sells the kalim in the marketplace, he's allowed to do his work here in the courtyard. So why should a weaver be any different? So Taisus over here says that we're talking about a weaver that's selling. He's opening a store and he's selling his clothing here in the courtyard. That's the issue. Okay, what's the story here with the children? So the Gemara answers, this is not someone that's teaching children Torah. This is talking about someone that's teaching children a trade, a profession, someone that's teaching children that are not Yidden B'chlal. He's just teaching children other things. That's something that you can prevent, just like anything else, causing the traffic and the noise here in the courtyard. Toshama, the Gemara brings from another brayse, Mishli Yeshlech Bayis B'chotza Shutfen. Person, again I skipped. Tashema Shnayim Sheyeshvim B'chotzer, two people that are living together in the same courtyard. Ubikish echad nem lasis reife v'uman, and one of them wants to be a reife or an uman. So again, a reife means a mile, or an uman is a bloodletter. Of a gardi, a weaver, umalamde tinoikis, and to teach children. Chaveirei ma'akev olav. So his friend could stop him from this. Again, you see the same thing. You can stop from teaching children in the courtyard, and the Gemara gives the same answer. Hachanami b'tinoikis da'akum. Here as well is talking about someone that's teaching children that are not Yidden B'chlal, and he's just teaching them a trade, a profession. Okay, so the Mefarshim point out that even though these two brayses seem to be almost identical, but the difference is that in the first brayse it said Reife Uman. So it's possible to read those two together as one. Reife Uman. Reife Uman would mean a doctor, which is a bloodletter. Here, though, it says Reife ve'uman. So because it says Reife ve'uman, so the Gemara understands that the Reife and the uman means two different things. The Reife is a mile, and the uman is a bloodletter, which is also a doctor. That's why when Rashi says the mile, he's going on the second braise where it says Reife ve'uman. So because it mentions here a mile, the Gemara thought when it says Malamde Tinaikis, we're also talking about Yiddish children, just like before it said Reife and it means a mile. And that's why it's a bigger chiddush for the Gemara to say in the second brayse that when it talks about Malam de Tinaikis, it's also talking about the Goyish children. Toshama, the Gemara brings from another brayse. Yep. Misha yeshle bayis b'chotza. Person has a house and a courtyard, hashutfin, b'chotza hashutfin, that is, in the courtyard of shutfin. Hareze lo yaskirenu. You can't rent out a place in your house, loy leroife, not for a doctor, v'loy uman, not for a bloodletter, v'loy legardi, not for a weaver, v'loy l'seifer Yehudi, v'loy l'seifer Armoi. So here it clearly says, not for a sefer. And the Gemara understands a sefer means one that teaches children, not a children that he teaches Yiddish children, and v'loy l'seifer Armoi, or Armenian sefer, meaning someone that teaches Goyish children. So it clearly spells out that both are not allowed. And how can you say this? If Yeshua ben Gamla instituted that you have to give the opportunity to teach children Torah in every place, in every city, in every courtyard. And says the Gemara, when it says over here Sefer, so it doesn't say it here. Rashi's pshat is, we're not talking just about one teacher that's teaching a group of children. We're talking about a person that gathers a few teachers, and all these teachers gather children. So it's a person that's sort of opening a whole school. He's using a private courtyard to open a whole school. That's already an issue. If you're one teacher that's teaching 20 children, 25 children, as we'll see soon in the Gemara, one teacher, then that's okay. But to open a whole school in a courtyard, that's a problem. That's Rashi's pshat. According to Taisvis or other Rishonim, the title of Sefer Masa means, the word Sefer doesn't mean Bechlal, teacher of children. Sefer means a scribe. A person that's a scribe, he writes the documents for people in the courtyard, whether he's a Yiddish scribe or a Goyish scribe. That has nothing to do with a teacher of children. That's the issue the Gemara has there. Omar Rav said another thing. Mitakonis Yeshua ben Gamla ve'elech. From when Yeshua instituted that in every place there should be a teacher of children, le'mamtinan yenuke mimasa lamasa. You don't bring children on a daily basis that they should have to go from one city to another to learn Torah. Rashi says, the Gemara says, if a child that's that young has to travel from one place to another, it's dangerous for him. So you have to force the people of every city, they have to hire someone to teach Torah for the children in that city. That a child should have to travel from one area, from one shul to another, mamtinan. That a child does have to be brought or could travel from one shul to another. But if in the same city there's a river that separates that from one shul to another, then loy mamtina. Then even in the same city, on one side of the river, on the other side of the river, you're going to have a teacher teaching children in this shul on this side, and another teacher in another shul on the other side of the river. But if there's a wide bridge, then mamtina. Then you could. It's safe. It's a big, nice, wide bridge, so the children can travel over it easily to come and learn Torah on the other side. Then it's not a problem. But v'yike gamla, if there's like a narrow plank of wood that serves as this bridge to go over the river, which is dangerous for the children to go on, leimamtina. So then you don't bring the children from one side to the other. Another thing Rabbi said, sach mikri dardiki. So the amount of children for one teacher is esrin v'chamisha yunuki, 25 children. According to Rashi, this means this is the maximum amount that a teacher should be teaching children. According to Taisvis, the Gemara is saying the opposite. What's the minimum amount of children in a city that they can force each other to hire a teacher? 25 children. If there's less than 25 children, then each one has to take care of his own child. They can't force each other to hire a teacher to teach. But if there's at least 25 children, then they could force each other to hire a teacher. If there's 50 children, you have to have two teachers. If there are 40 children, so one teacher is enough, but you're going to have an assistant, a helper that can help out with the teaching. And you have to get the help, even for not only for the teacher, but even for this assistant. The people in the city also have to participate in having this assistant when it's a bigger class. Another halacha said, which teacher should you choose to have your children learn by? Hi Mikri Yenuka the goddess, if you have a teacher that teaches his children, but there's another teacher, the goddess Femine. He could learn more, he could learn quicker with the children. So now you see that there's someone else that's a better teacher. You would think, so let's replace him. Let's replace him with this better teacher that learns more and quicker. So the Gemara says, no, you should not do that. Why? Because then this new teacher may actually be lazy and negligent in his job of teaching, because he sees that he's the better teacher and everybody looks at him and trusts him for being a teacher that teaches better and quicker. So then he may just actually become lazy about what he's doing. He'll become overconfident that people trust him. However, Rav Dimi of Nerdar says, no, actually, that in such a case, you see a teacher that can teach better. Kol shekain, the goddess Tvei. If you're going to hire him, so he's definitely going to do a better job, because he's going to then, because kina seifrim tar b'chachma, when there's jealousy amongst seifrim, amongst those that learn or amongst those that teach, that actually brings more wisdom. The fact that he was now hired to teach more, so he's going to want to make sure that he's going to prove himself to the people of the city, that they replaced an old teacher with him. He's going to want to show how much better he teaches. He's actually going to teach better. So you should hire the second teacher to do a better job. Another thing about which teacher you should choose to teach the children. Hani trei mikri dardiki. If you have a choice, there are two people that can teach the children. Chad Goddess, one of them teaches quicker, teaches a lot. But v'loy dayik, he's not very medayik, very particular to make sure to teach 100% right, because he's teaching more and quicker, so he can make mistakes. But v'chad dayik, another one teaches slower, and he teaches better, and he's very medayik, he's very particular that he should teach well. V'loy goddess, but he doesn't teach in the quantity as much. So who's better? Who's a better teacher for the children? So the Gemara here brings two opinions. My svina nahu, the goddess, v'loy dayik. So Rabbi says you should appoint the one that teaches more, even if he's not so particular in everything that he teaches and he can make a mistake. And the reason is shabeshte memela nafik. Even if he makes certain mistakes, but eventually the children will learn of their mistakes and they'll correct it. But meanwhile, they're ending up learning a lot more in quantity, so that's better. But Rav Dimi from Nerdah said, "My svinan the dayik v'loy goddess," that you should rather hire the teacher that teaches slower and teaches better and very precise, even if he doesn't teach in quantity as much, because shabeshte kivin the all, because a mistake, once it enters into the heart of a child and when he really learns it the first time, the mistake goes into his mind. It's very hard to get out that mistake. The Chsiv, as you see, the pasuk says as follows: a story that happened. Kisheishes Chadoshim Yoshev Sham Yoyev, which was the general in the army of David HaMelech. So he went out into fight for 6 months. And the Chol Yisrael, together with all the Yidden, Ad Hichris Kozacha Bedin, until he killed every male in Edom, where he was fighting. He was fighting there against Amalek, and he killed all the males. Kiosla Kamei David, when he came back from battle, and he came to David HaMelech, David HaMelech tells him, my time of the Sachi. Why did you do this? That you killed only the males of Amalek and not the females. Amalek. So he answers him, and this is Yoav, the great general from David HaMelech's army. He says, what it says in the pasuk, Timche ezecher Amalek. Now the way he pronounced it says Timche ezachar Amalek, that you should wipe out only the males of the nation of Amalek. Amalek. So David HaMelech tells him, but v'hanan zecher karinan. The right way to pronounce it is any zecher, any remnants of Amalek, not zachar. Amalei ana zochar akarian. When I learned by my teacher, I learned by him zochar. So this is a mistake that at a very young age he learned it this way, and that mistake remained in his mind even later. So Azal Shaila Rabbe Yoyev was so upset about this. So he went and asked his teacher how he taught him. Amalei ha'eich akrisan. How did you teach me? Amalei. So he answered him, and most Rishonim Agayis here in the Gemara that he told him, I taught you properly. I taught you zecher. I did teach you to read the word zecher. But nevertheless, what happened over here is, even though his teacher taught him properly Zecher, but the children, when they were reviewing and learning themselves, they must have learned Zachar to themselves. And this teacher was not careful in listening to them to correct their mistake, that when they said Zachar. So Shakal Safsira Lemiktale. Yoav took a sword and he wanted to kill his teacher for allowing this mistake to happen. And because of this outcome that happened over here, that he didn't wipe out the whole Amalek. Amalei, so his teacher says to him, Amai, why do you want to do this? I deserve to be killed because of this mistake that I made when I taught you. Amalei, so Yoav said, yes, the pasuk says, Oror oise melechas Hashem remiyah. Cursed is the one that does the work of Hashem, and the work of Hashem is a teacher, teaching children, and he does this remiyah. He doesn't do this properly. He's not paying attention that the children should learn the right understanding. He's negligent in his job of teaching them. Amalei, so his teacher asks him and says to him, to Yoav, Shafkela hu gavre the leikim bara. Allow this person himself, the teacher, to be alive, and he'll have the curse, but allow him to be alive. Amalei, so Yoav says, but the pasuk says, Va'oror meineya charbe midam. Cursed is the one that prevents his sword from blood. That in certain cases, this is what has to be done. So ikeda amri, some say katle, that he killed him, and others say that he did not kill him. So you see how far this goes, that a teacher that teaches children and he's not careful that they shouldn't make a mistake, the outcome that can come out from this years later. Another thing that Rava said, Mikri Yenuka, a teacher of children, a shasla, a person that's hired as a sharecropper, he plants vineyards and he gets a certain half, let's say, of the vineyard that he takes. Tavche, a bloodletter, v'umne, a tafche is a butcher. A tafche is really a sheichet, a person that shechts. Or a bloodletter, or v'sefer masa, or the scribe in the city. Kulon, all these individuals, kemusrin v'oimdin ninu. It's like they were warned in advance that if they make a mistake, they can be fired of their job with any additional warning afterwards. And the reason is because in all these cases, a mistake that's made is something that you can't correct. Just like it said now regarding the teacher of children, that if you make a mistake, then this mistake remains in the child's heart forever. Or actually Taisa says a different shot, because this is Rava speaking here. And Rava is the one that said before that the mistake, a child will correct the mistake later on in life. But Taisa says, if you teach a child wrong Torah, that time that he didn't learn Torah properly is lost time of his learning that you can never bring back. And the same is with all these others over here, whether the sharecropper, the crop of the produce for the year is lost, for the season is lost, or a bloodletter, or a sheichet, or the sefer, all these things that are mistakes that you can't correct them. So when we get to a sefer of a sefer Torah, there are certain mistakes that the whole sefer Torah becomes possible and can't be corrected. So therefore, they're like warned in advance, and you can fire them immediately. Klala the milsa, the rule here is, kolp seid, anytime you hire an employee, that he causes a loss, and this is a mistake, a loss that you can't retrieve it, it's like he's been forewarned that you can fire him right away. There are those some Rishonim that say that this is only if he repeats this mistake 3 times, not by the first time. Okay, but even after 3 times, you don't have to give him any other warning. Rav Huna says, now this starts a new subject, also regarding a place in a courtyard, that you have a person that has a store, the halachas of a sagas gvul, when someone else wants to open the same store like you have in the same courtyard. So Rav Huna said, Hai bar muva, a person that's living in a certain alleyway, that has all the courtyards that are open into this one alleyway, that he has a mill, that this is his business, that people come and grind things by him. Vasa bar muva chavre, and another person in the same alleyway comes, the kamaiki gabe, and he brings another mill right there as a competition. Dinahu the ma'akev ilaveh. You can prevent him of doing this from the competition. There are some Rishonim that say that the source of this is the pasuk of Asagas Gavul, that when you come and someone else has his business there and you come and put your same business right there, it's Isam and Atayra. Others say that it's not Isam and Atayra, it's only Isam and Rabbanon, and that the source of this is a concept that we had another place in the Gemara. It's called the Oni Amahapich B'charara, when someone else is trying to be zeiche in a piece of bread and you come and are zeiche it and grab it before him. So same thing over here, you're grabbing away, you're taking away someone else's business. And as the Gemara here says, the Amalei Kapaskas Yusi, by you putting your mill near mine, you're taking away the source of my livelihood. Says the Gemara, Leime Misayeh. So we said we have a Braisa. That's a source for what Rav Huna said. Because the Braisa says regarding a person that's catching fish, Marchikim mitzudas hadog min hadog kimloi ritzis hadog. A person that puts out his net to catch fish, someone else that wants to catch fish has to remove himself from that area where he put out, where the fish swim, where he's catching his fish, for that area where the fish are swimming. Now, how far is that? The kama, what's that distance? Omer Rabbi Baravona at parsa, to the amount of a parsa. That's that area where one person is catching fish that you have to stay away. So we see here that once a person has his livelihood that is catching fish here, you have to stay away from there. So the Gemara says that's not a source of what Rav Huna said. Rav Huna said a bigger chiddush, because shani dogim, by the case of the fish, it's different because the yav is sayara. Over there, once you put out the net and you put out the net for the fish with food to attract them and to come and to catch these fish, so the fish already are in your net. They're already there. They see your food and they're basically being caught by you already, and someone else that's coming and puts down his net right there, he's taking away the fish that are already basically in your net. That's not allowed. But over here, regarding one mill and another mill, that's no raya to what Rav Huna is saying, because over there, the second person can come and say, people are coming and going here. People come to you, people can come to me. You don't have them already by you. That's not them. They don't belong to you. So therefore, I can put down my mill over here. So it's not a proof from this brisa. Ravina says to Rava, shall we say that what Rav Huna said, the source of what he says, is Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, and this is a machlekes. The Chachamim disagreed with Rabbi Yehuda. What did Rabbi Yehuda say? That we learned in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda says, a storekeeper should not give out the klois ve'geizim, walnuts, or roasted oats, or roasted kernels to children, basically giving out candies to children in your store. Because now when a person sends his child to go buy something, they're only going to go to this store. They're not going to go to any other store. You take away the business of any other competition. You're not allowed to do that, to take away the business from everybody else. The Chachamim matirin. However, Chachamim allow. Chachamim say that you're allowed, that it's not a problem. So you see over here that Rabbi Yehuda is the one that's concerned about the fact that you have a store and there's a sagas kavul and you're taking away the parnasa from everybody else. But the Gemara says, no, what Rav Huna said is not only according to the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, What Rav Huna said can follow even the Rabbanan's opinion. The reason why the Rabbanan argued there and what Rav Yehuda said, Elo, the Amalei, because over there, the other storekeeper, this storekeeper that's giving out the candies to the children can say, Ano, come the faligna, I'm geizi. I'm giving out walnuts for the children. Ploig shiviski. You give out almonds. Meaning I'm not taking away your business. Everybody has their way how you attract business. So you can do something else. I'm not taking away any business from you. But over here, though, this is something else. Over here, when a person is in one alleyway and you're putting a mill there for the business in this alleyway and someone else comes right near you to put another mill over here, even the Chachama would agree that you're taking away his business. So therefore over here, even the Rabbana would agree. You're taking away my livelihood. So the Gemara asks from a Braise, Meisvei, it says, Adam chanus, b'tzad chanus shel chaverei. You're allowed to open a store right at the side of the store of your friend, or merchatz, a bathhouse, b'tzad merchatz shel chaverei, right at the side of your friend's bathhouse. And your friend cannot protest against you. You can tell him, you open your store in your premises, and I'm opening by me. So it's not everybody has the full rights to do in his own courtyard or in his own premises to do whatever he wants, even though they're right near each other. Clearly, a brisa that's arguing with the point that Rav Huna said. So the Gemara says Tanoihi. This idea is a clear machlokes in a brisa. The Tanya, as we learned in a brisa, Koif and B'nei Muvoi people of the alleyway can force one another that they shouldn't bring amongst them. Then this is when you have over here someone that's in this alleyway that has this kind of business. So now they can force one another that you shouldn't bring here lechayet, not a tailor, lebursiki, not a person that's a tanner, v'le melamet linoikis, or a person that's a teacher of children, and v'loy echad mibnei bali omnes, and not any other kind of profession to bring him over here. Someone that doesn't even live here, someone that's going to come and rent and do business over here in this alleyway, while there's already someone else over here that's doing this business, and now someone else wants to come from a different place, and you're going to rent out to him that he should do this business here, so you can prevent him from renting here in this place. But if it's your neighbor that lives in this alleyway just like you can't force him, you can't stop him of opening up the same business as you. So over here we see clearly that Tanakama holds like the Brisa we just quoted, that if it's someone that's actually living here and he wants to open and have a meal just like you can't stop him. But Rav Shimon Gamliel argues, even if it's a neighbor, you could stop him of opening up the same business as you. And this is like what Rav Huna said. So Rav Huna paskened like Rav Shimon Gamliel. So now Rav Huna Bereder Rav Yeshua said regarding the opinion of the Chachamim, that says that when it's your own neighbor, you can't prevent him of opening up the same business as you. Pshitali, it's obvious to me, that if you're living in this city and there's someone else that's not living with you in this city, he's coming from a different city and he wants to open up a business over here like you in this city. So matzim akiv, definitely you can stop him. Right, so in other words, Chachamim only said that if it's your neighbor, right? If it's someone that's living here in this alleyway or in this city, then you can't stop him. But if someone from a different city wants to come here, obviously Chachamim hold you can prevent him. But now, if this individual is from another city, but he pays the head tax in this city, so then you can't stop him because then he's like a resident of this city. He pays the head tax here. If it's someone that's living in the same alleyway, so then you can't prevent them from opening up the business in the city. That's the point that the Chachamim said. Now, but what was this question? Boy, Rav Huna Bereder Rav Yeshua's shaila was bar muva achrine mai. If you're in the same city and there's different alleyways with the developments of the houses, different alleyways, and we have one person in this alleyway and someone else in another alleyway, could you prevent him of coming here? He's not mamish a neighbor. He said neighbor, but he's not mamish a neighbor. Could you prevent him of opening up a business like yours or not? Teiku, that he didn't answer. Rav Yosef said, Rav Huna that said that you can't have someone else in your own place open a competition, a store, a mill against you to take away your business. But Rav Huna will agree though, that if you're a teacher of children, you can't prevent someone else of coming and opening a class to teach children, even though you're also a teacher of children. And this is even your parnasa. They pay you for teaching the children, so you can't prevent someone else of coming and teaching the children right here. Because the master has said, and here you have the The Gemara continues from Rashi. It seems like you're not greatest this, but some are greatest. The Gemara continues and says that Ezra tikkun lam Yisrael. Ezra instituted for Yidden, Shi Meshivin Sefer Bitzat Sefer, that one teacher of children should be able to be hired in the same place, even though there's already another teacher there. And V'nechesh, you're going to ask and say, we should be afraid, Dilma Asil is Rashuli, that now if you have two teachers of children, so one of them may become lazy with teaching because there's another one here. So Amalei, the answer to that is, Kina Seifrim Tarba Chochma, that when it comes to teaching children, so then it's not an issue. The fact that you have two, the competition will only be better for the children, that they'll learn even more Torah. That's the pasuk that the Gemara quotes here. There's a letter from the Rebbe about this last point here, about the competition of two teachers of children. The Rambam quotes this halacha, and he brings a different pasuk. Not the pasuk of Kina Seifrim, but he brings the halacha of Yagdol Torah v'Yadeh, that the more teachers of children you have, the more Torah will be taught. And the Rebbe points out that the Gemara is bringing the pasuk of Kina Seifrim Tarba Chochma to explain why there's no issue of Asagas Gvul. Because usually Asagas Gvul, you take away business from someone else. Here, Adarabah, it actually makes it better that you'll teach more Torah, and it'll give you the ability to teach even better, and you'll have more children to teach. The Rambam, though, is talking about the chiyuv, that you have an obligation. You should do this. Open one person to teach Torah, another person to teach Torah. The better, the more you have, Yagdol Torah v'Yadeh. It's a chiyuv to do this, not just a heter. That's what the Rambam quotes a pasuk of Yagdol Torah v'Yadeh.